So again, we're back in a completely different browser. So we're going to go in and we're going to adjust the columns again, just like we did before, right? So I'm going to take out some of my columns. I'm going to keep 3 of them. I'm going to keep the title, the potential fire date, and the status, okay? And you'll see that throughout the system now. We're good to go. I can see that I have some active and I have some paused, okay? If I want to see my active list, I'm going to search right here, okay? And if I want to see my paused list, I can see it right here. We're going to start in the paused part, and we're going to go in and we're going to edit a paused PM and activate it to a schedule. And then we're going to adjust an active PM and we're going to add a new PM. Okay, so I'm going to go down and open up a paused PM. So when you open up a preventative maintenance task, whether it's paused or active at this time, or you're creating a brand new one, you are going to be seeing the first section of the preventative maintenance task, which is the overview. This is where you're going to start building your preventative maintenance task. Title, facility, area possibly, and you're going to make your way through to populating certain fields if they're required. Normally, what I would say when you're putting in a preventative maintenance task is always put the timing into the task itself. The reason that I always advocate for this is it's one, it actually, without having to open up the task itself, it will tell you how often it is. You might not be the person that's actually doing the preventative maintenance. You might be somebody in there searching for certain information. When you put the timing in, it allows the person or persons to know how often something happens. Even though technically the category will determine it, it's always good to put that information in. Now you can put it in at the very end. Some people like to put it in at the very back end of the PM. It doesn't really matter how you set it up, but I'm a big advocate for putting in the timing into it. The other thing that you want to put in is specific wording. This one you can see is specific annual vehicle safety inspection. Inspection is the key word here. It's not a test, it's not a check, it's an inspection. And the wording I feel is really important when you're creating your PMs to make sure you put that proper documentation wording in. Very similar to what you might see in any sort of compliance and regulatory request. It specifies what it is. If this was a generator, it would probably be some sort of test, a full load or partial load test. You can put that into the title too. Okay, so try and make sure that you put in the timing and how often. Okay, check, test, readings, whatever it might be. Now, you also have to put in your facility license. Even though you might just have one facility license, you still have to populate it here within the maintenance care system. It's the way the system is built. Not all preventative maintenance has an area. Some of it is all encompassing through the building, but in some cases you might have a specific area that you will actually do the inspection. It could be a boiler room, a mechanical room, it could be the roof, but it doesn't need to have an area in. In some cases, or most cases, all cases actually, you will have to have a request type. Standardly for preventative maintenance, it's either going to be general maintenance, fire safety, health and safety, life safety. And then in some cases, there might be preset classifications for things that have already been preset in your company facility. Government compliance, fire safety compliance, ISO standardization, right? And what the classification does in any type of preventative maintenance task allows you to filter within the status tab, but more importantly, it allows you to filter for a report. So if you actually classify your work orders under some sort of standardization, you can go and pull an all-encompassing report specific to that compliance or that fire safety. You can also do it by request type too. You also remember too, if you sat in on the reporting webinar that was a couple of months ago, then you would also remember too that you can split your reports in to preventative maintenance and work order. And then from there, you can filter accordingly. Okay. This is not required as far as classification is set, it is something that you can put into the system. Rooms, in some cases, you might have a room, but again, it's not necessary for building or editing your preventative maintenance task. Then we're going to get the preventative maintenance due diligence. So due diligence can fall under many different categories. It can be a whole list of things that must be done. The reason due diligence is important is you're basically providing instruction. Here is what my expectation is for getting this complete. I can also reference a sheet. If you're going to attach a manufacturer's manual or a troubleshooting guide or some sort of checklist, you can reference it here so they know where to go when you reference something. Okay. But in some cases, some people might put in, step 1, do this, step 2, do this, step 3. Not only is it good to put it in because it gives you that follow through for reporting. If you have new people that have started and they are not really sure of what they are supposed to do when they're doing this check, then this is a really great training tool too. You're providing instructional information, or you are directing them to instructional information. Remember, you can attach any type of documentation. You can also attach a URL link that can take you to a Google Drive or a SharePoint Drive where that document might reside. Okay, so in some cases, you have lots of wiggle room here to put in really good information. Okay, so this is basically the starting point of building your PM. Duration, you can preset time that needs to be spent on this inspection. It can be done at this time, or it can be done when the task is triggered and they're actually documenting the work that they're done. But again, it can be preset within the maintenance care system.